on the nation's capital this morning. The former Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, has been taking center stage there this week after having his official portrait unveiled on Tuesday. Harper addressed a gala last night where he shared his thoughts on the country's current relationship with the U.S.
To be clear, these realities mean that we must reduce our dependence on the U.S. in order to protect our sovereignty and our economy. But we must do so also clearly understanding that by all the critical measures of international relations, America will still remain our principal partner in the world. Thus, our future path requires balance and sober reflection. Our national conversation must be mature enough to acknowledge that many of the difficulties we now face as a country cannot be blamed on Donald Trump. In too many cases, they stem from bad decisions by our own government.
With me now to discuss is CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader Tom Mulcair. Good morning, Tom.
Hi, Marcia.
So what did you make of Harper's message? He got applause last night. He said, we need to focus on policy, not emotion.
Oh, well, he was in front of a very friendly audience, but his words were very wise. And you sense that, as he's left politics, he's taken a little bit of a step back. He's willing to acknowledge things that, for example, what Carney is doing, going around the world, drumming up new partnerships for better trade routes and not relying so exclusively on the United States. He gives a nod to that. But then he goes after, not so much Carney, of course, he's only been there for a year or so, but he goes after the Trudeau-era, and he rhymes through all the things that he thinks were wrong with that era in terms of how we dealt with our natural resources, how the provinces were dealt with, and how our partnerships worked. And he's wise also to remind Canadians that no matter what else we do in terms of developing those new trade relationships, we're still going to be the major trading partner of the U.S., and they will be ours. So that's a reality check. I think that was long overdue in this whole discussion about Donald Trump. But as he says, you cannot blame everything on what's happened since Trump came back just about a year ago. There are things that were bubbling up in terms of massive deficits that Justin Trudeau accumulated, not just because of the pandemic, but otherwise, because he promised that he would have deficits. So we're looking back a little bit in history. It's 20 years. It's hard to believe that it's been 20 years, but it's 20 years since Stephen Harper came to power. He's been, as you mentioned, unveiling that official portrait, but it became a week of events for the Conservative Party, beginning, I would say, in Calgary over the weekend, with the very strong support that was given by party members in Calgary to Pierre Poilievre. And Poilievre, of course, has been rolling with that. He got to stand up last night and say that Mr. Harper was his mentor, and that, attaching himself to what is seen increasingly positively as the mandate of Mr. Harper is wise politics on his part as well.
Is he in sync with Mr. Harper? Mr. Harper spoke more about President Trump than Pierre Poilievre did last week at that convention.
Poilievre is in a bit of a bind. He doesn't want to upset his base that tends to be rather MAGA, pro-Trump. Poilievre just a couple of weeks ago, beginning of January, put out a very enthusiastic tweet supporting Donald Trump's invasion of a foreign country, Venezuela, and the kidnapping of its leader. So, I mean, he can't have it both ways. He can't say, oh, yeah, we have to have an independent Canada and be careful of Trump, and at the same time be the cheerleader for Donald Trump. He's going to have to decide which one of those two he wants to be. That's a bit of the dilemma of being Pierre Poilievre. He wants to show the statesman-like side of himself. An opposition leader, I've had the job, has two main things to do. One is to hold the government to account, and the other one is to essentially show that they're the next government. They're a government in waiting. On the first one, holding the government to account, Poilievre gets A+. He's very strong. He's a very good opposition leader in the House. But the other part, showing that he's got the team and the maturity and the ability to actually run the country, Canadians in poll after poll are saying, not so much. So he's got to try to work on both of them. And you can see in the experience and the expertise and the depth of the knowledge and vision retroactively of Mr. Harper that he's got all that stuff. And Mr. Poilievre, to put it kindly, is still a work in progress.
And we'll leave it there for this morning. CTV News political commentator and former NDP leader Tom Mulcair, always great to chat. See you soon.
All the best, Marcia.